Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So I had said I am going to do like more on the pulse content, and like it's really a segment of off the cuff things I've been thinking about. So today I am back. If you haven't watched the first one of this series on disappointments, yeah, I think you should go watch it. Tell me what you think, whether you like it or not. So today's topic, right, is about coming as you are. Something I've been thinking about and something I've been working on for years, right? So just about me, a bit of context. I'm recovering from navigating the world from a lens of hyper independence. And then secondly, another thing about me is I am also a recovering perfectionist, right? Here's the tough thing with perfectionism is that you don't try and perfect necessarily who you are. You're trying to perfect who people see you to be. I don't think that it's necessarily the worst thing to perfect being yourself holistically. Versus when you're a perfectionist, I think a lot of it comes from trying to perfect how you appear in somebody else's view, right? So what ends up happening is that your perfectionism or yourself, just when I can Google, you are constantly adjusting to perfection by various standards, you know. And I think the main thing about wanting to come across as perfect is that you want to be so easy to love, yeah. You want to be the least difficult in a room full of people. You want to be the one that people can trust to just go with it, you know. And I think it's manifested itself even in interpersonal relationships. And I think the one relationship that helped me overcome this hectic need to be like perfect, to be the golden child, to be sociable, to be has been friendship, right? Because in friendship it's like I don't think there are. I mean, there are expectations, especially on social media, but a lot of my friends are like very long term friends, whose expectations are built on the fact that, like, firstly, we didn't even know what kind of friends we needed. We didn't know what we needed out of friendship. And so your expectations were always adjusted around who the person is, right? Not necessarily around, but, hey, now I need a friend that will, you know. And so that was like the first place where I really just got to like be. And like I think if anyone that knows me knows that I absolutely love my friends. I love the construct of friendship, because it's the first place where you get to like be yourself. I think friendship, especially in our age, right, is that we were never necessarily told what friends must be like, right? Or what they must do for us, etc. Because I think when you look at the older generations, yes, friendship was there, but everybody's got land over. I show me like and friends or not. Like for example, like a lot of our mothers or like within friends, they don't care like that much about friends. They might have like one or two really good friends or whatever, but I don't think that they've had the best experiences with friendships. So we didn't grow up with like a scaffolding or a blueprint of what friendship must look like, you know. And so there we were able to like Latina, like horizon. And that was the first place that I learned to be myself, because I've always felt with my friends I can be myself and I'll still be loved and I'll still be validated and things like that. In other relationships, for example, like romantic relationships or work relationships or whatever, I think there is sort of that expectation of who you show up as and that you're going to be judged relative to that, right? So something about me, I'm very passionate. I am very loud about how I feel about people. And then I think the toughest part is that not everybody is going to be responsive to who you are, and it shouldn't matter. Like that should be like an okay. Like now that I'm older, I'm like okay. But I think growing up, there was this need, right, to adjust or amend yourself, um, in order for you to be palatable, right? Or in order for you to be, Tatina, to be considered by man, ndo right lona. So much so that it actually came at the compromise of the things that sort of like make you happy or your peace or whatever. So you were this constant adjusting human being that didn't mind anything. You thought everything was cool. And I think that a lot of that stemmed from the fact that we've also grown up to imagine that, for example, in a relationship with men, that it's always about what they want. What kind of girl do they want? What kind of girl do they need? And then it's just like, oh, how do I become that person, right? So much so that you even neglect like who you are in order to not be like too much, not, yeah, but so now I've always been quite a passionate person. I've always been like a person that loves words, loves affirmations. I've been a big dreamer. I've loved fairy tales, like just in general, like, and until this day I am still very much that person, right? But for the longest time I felt like I shouldn't be. Don't be too much. Well, don't be too much. Even in your relationships at work, don't be too much. Like, you must just calm down, so that people don't interpret you as like this excitable, naive, wada 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 wada, right? And there are countless times when I've bitten my tongue, in order to be able to be cool. I did cool, in order to be able to feel like I'll be accepted, right? That's also why empowerment becomes so important, right? Because I actually stopped caring about that. Like, but I must, guys, like literally, I'm not shy anymore, like in general. Like, I will show up as myself, and this is me. Of course, not in terms of, but I'm okay with showing up as myself when I'm hurting people. Like, those are the things. If I'm not hurting someone, I'm validated. I'm okay. It's all right for me to entertain this part of me. Like, I'm not hurting you by being myself. I might be making you uncomfortable, but then again, you ask yourself the question, but okay, whose problem is that? I think for as long as you're not hurting someone, you should allow yourself to show up as yourself. Because like the moment that you like try and fixate into fitting into these boxes, or these the certain type of personality, or wada wada wada, I think that people really do miss out on like who you are, and what you have to offer. Like, abantu can reject you, ne? Fine, that's okay. People think, oh, you're too much, you're what? That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But I promise you, when you find your people, or you find you, it might be that your people is, there's only a few people that are your people in the world. But I think the best part of that, even if there is just a few people that are your people, it means that you get to show up like wholly as yourself, like completely as yourself. And I don't think that matches showing up in bits and pieces with other people where you're nervous about like just like being yourself, becomes so important that we enable people to be themselves when they're around us, right? It can't necessarily work whereby you come in with all of your requirements and expectations. But Uzban fits like this, they think like this, they breathe like this, they wada 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 wada, and you orchestrate this perfect world of people that think like you, people that don't trigger you at any point, people that meet your expectations, and la 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 la. And I think the reason why it's so important to understand that it can't work, and also to stray away, one of the two, from trying to create like a perfect combination of people through building expectations and rejecting those that don't fit into the expectations, instead of trying to accept them for who they are, is that a lot of the views that you have, right, And a lot of the things that make you comfortable are usually things that reiterate your traumas, right? So, or they make your traumas comfortable. So, for example, a lot of the things mhlambi that your parents didn't do well, or things that you really want to ensure that you never get triggered like this or that or wada because your parents didn't. But now you're forming a whole reality based off trauma. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't try and adjust to the things that traumatized us the most, but sometimes trauma can trauma can really distort our image of reality, right? That so much so that we start to think that in order for people to not want to hurt me, they should show up like X, Y, and Z instead of waiting to see their intent, right? Because people act in a way that they think is best, and it's not always going to be a case of how you interpret their actions is what they intended. People didn't grow up with you, right? People don't think like you, they don't have your experiences, and also they don't have the intent that you're always imagining in your mind, right? Not everyone is trying to be malicious or hurt you or disregard you. Sometimes people don't know how to regard you. Sometimes people don't know how to show up for you, or they. So I have a thing of, I guess it could be over communicating, where I try to communicate like the things and how they make me feel, right? And then I also accept that people don't necessarily need to work in with regards to that in order to be, because it's not always easy to adjust, in order to be absolutely and completely not trying to hurt me or whatever. So I think how I test intent is I communicate, and then I say basically how it makes me feel or whatever. And like when you repeatedly do something that I've told you makes me feel this way, I think then you've tested the intent, because if you know that it makes me feel like this and you do it, your intention was for it to make me feel like that. So I have this thing of communicating to test intent. But also there you can also see sometimes guys abantu are trying to not do those things, and it's not necessarily their intention to hurt you. In terms of like allowing ourselves to be, that starts with a whole load of trust or a whole load of acknowledgement of the fact that we are lovable with all different aspects of ourselves, right? And even in the instance, because what we tend to do, we want to replicate something that we've seen other people love, or someone that we've seen other people love, right? To say, this model works. Probably not for you, but yeah, like realistically, probably not for you. But it's not always going to be the truth for you, because people love people for different reasons, right? I think that we need to trust, and guys, and I quote Hashem Chomam, thanks SK Man for your content. We need to trust our ability to create, right? We need creativity to imagine things that we never thought existed, right? So that's also being loved for who we are. So here we are, this unique person that is a combination of experiences, things, and whatever, and dreams, and combination of the past, the future, the present, and uniquely so because of not just the experiences but the lens, and the way that they process and whatever. I think we're all made differently and special, and magical, but we need to imagine ourselves being wholly ourselves and lovable, right? That even if we've never seen anybody loving someone as chaotic and complex as who we are, we need to be creative and see that there's a possibility, or imagine that it could happen, But if you are so fixated on who you want me to be to make you feel comfortable, you'll miss out on a whole load of me that will be a completely different experience to any combination of any human being and their experiences. And And I think we need to be able to imagine ourselves as Totina, a calligraphy of beautiful things. So much so that Totina, masterpieces, artwork, you just throw everything together. That when we try to avoid being ourselves to be something else, the world is at loss. Yeah, the world is at loss when we don't show up as ourselves. And we all have something great and amazing to add. And be shy, man, guys. Super shy. And you know what? If somebody doesn't want you for being yourself, that's not your peeps. that is not your person. So Tina, yes, sure, okay, it's fine if it makes you feel uncomfortable, that's fine. And we're all going to be uncomfortable with all of our relationships, be it friendship, be it family, but we make space for each other. Ne? But if somebody is rejecting you, ne, or is sidelining you because of who you are, I'm Mdase, forget it. If you're not hurting someone, forget it, Mdase. Forget it, because you're going to constantly try and mold yourself to what they want. Because at some point, I that person that's wada. Guys, you know what? I have made so much peace with who I am. I am a young woman that is vocal about the things that I love. I am I'm imaginative, I'm creative, I am extremely passionate, I am forward looking, I am highly functional and desire functionality, and I am giving, I am receiving, which is also a learning curve, and I'm incredibly and amazingly me, right? And if I need to be anybody else, right, because there's things I need to fix, that's fine. Like things I need to fix to make me a good person. But if any of my good traits or my traits that I admire and enjoy that make me feel like I'm myself, if any of it is too much or it's too forget it, Nasa. And then the wrong away. And you know what? I have a amazing cohort of people that love my expressiveness, they love my passion, they love my ability to do things and share and imagine and la. But if I call for when I'm unsubscribe, stand some. When I live, subscribe or unsubscribe, unsubscribe, because I am incredibly and amazingly me. And I am excited to meet people that are incredibly and amazingly them. I may be uncomfortable with some things, but I'm not planning to not accept and learn from them. And that's it on that. Sorry, man, I need to bounce. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys will still tune in. Let me know what you loved about this video. And yeah. Thank you.